to meet the mayor. This is Larry Petraccaro, and I have with me Frank McGehee. And Frank and I have as our guest tonight Ozzie Hansen. Ozzie is the owner of the Urban Cyclery here in Maplewood, New Jersey. And we're going to talk a little bit tonight about his business specifically, the bike shop. Also talk a little bit about what it means to be a business owner, what it means to be a black business owner. And then in the second half, we're going to talk a little bit about bikes themselves, how to select what you should look for and get some of Ozzie's advice. So we're going to start now. Ozzie, why don't we start by having you tell us a little bit about the business.
So the Urban Cyclery shop started in 2017 in the city I grew up in, which is East Orange, New Jersey. We later opened up the Maplewood location at the height of the COVID epidemic in April 2020. And we service and sell bicycle and bicycle related products.
Well, Ozzie, I want to first say thank you so much for this opportunity. We are actually live on location for the first time since the pandemic, and let me tell you one thing, it's refreshing.
Yes, it is. I want to thank you and Larry for inviting us to interview us. We truly appreciate it.
Well, there's no question that there was a void in our community. We have a lot of cycling enthusiast families.
Yes, absolutely.
And many people are venturing outside of our footprint.
Correct.
To other communities local by, Milburn, Summit, if you will, and maybe even to you a little bit in East Orange.
Yes, absolutely.
So really there was a desire there, and I would say that. But from your perspective, and Glenda's perspective, why Maplewood? What made you choose Maplewood?
So there was a couple of things that came into play when we were deciding to open up. First of all, we really wasn't deciding to open up in Maplewood. What had happened was a woman by the name of Julie, who used to be the head of the Springfield Ave Partnership, I believe it's called, reached out to us. She heard good things about us through Amy, and I forget the other young lady's name from the General Store Cooperative. Okay. But either way, Julie reached out to us and asked us to consider opening up a bike shop in Maplewood. And would we consider meeting with her and at the time former Mayor Vic to talk about some of the positive things about opening up, not just in Maplewood, but along Springfield Ave. So one day in June of 2019, we met with Julie, Mayor Vic, and I'm sorry, her name escapes me right now. She's the owner of Fringe.
We met with them.
Kim, yeah, absolutely. Really nice woman. Her and Julie, fantastic. We met with them over at the diner, and we discussed some of the positive things about opening up in Maplewood. And we actually went and looked at some properties along the Ave.
That's
and a year later, almost to the day, we opened up a shop here at 1945 Springfield Ave.
That's awesome. By the way, that's 1945 Springfield Avenue. If you're interested in getting a bicycle, family, children, adults, accessories as well. If you get a bike, you need a kickstand. You need other accessories as well. So, Ozzie and the team, they have everything here. Just not a shameless plug, but a fact as you look behind us at this wall of all this amazing equipment that really enhances your cycling experience.
Yeah. We're a small shop, but we try to pack in as much as we feel that the average cyclist would need here.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. It's wonderful, and it's a beautiful space. I hope that the camera is doing you justice, but it's spacious. You can see all the bikes here on the rack. And it's very comfortable. When you walk in, you feel like this is a place where you can shop and take your time and stroll, and that's a big part of being a business owner.
Yes.
And speaking about being a business owner, you and your wife are people of color, and for Maplewood, we talk about diversity and inclusivity, and and not just in our residents, but in our businesses. And and what does it mean to you that you've now been here for a while and you've seen there are other black businesses in our community? How does it make you feel part of that community, if you will?
So, that's the one thing I did notice, probably more so after we located the Springfield Ave here in Maplewood, was the amount of businesses along the Ave here, the amount of black businesses along the Ave here. It's almost like the new Black Wall Street. I hate to say that, but it's almost that way. And not just here, I think it also extends over into to Union to Vauxhall, and as far down as the Firehouse. Quite a few black businesses along the Ave here. Yeah, really good feeling. Really good feeling.
No, thank you. It is refreshing. You know,
Right.
you have from bike shops, obviously, to food, to clothing. All type of clothing.
Right.
You know, at least 4 clothing stores.
Right.
So it's wonderful to have that. You know, the plethora of businesses that we have here, Larry
Right.
and Ozzie as well. We got to talk about it. You know, COVID has been a big part of our existence now for a year and a half. Good and bad. How has COVID impacted you and Glenda and the business in general, during the pandemic?
So I would have to tell you that. So we opened up in April of 2020, right at the height of COVID. And if I had a crystal ball and I could see into the future, I probably would have decided not to open up because of everything that happened. Just the unknown. Everything was shutting down. And again, we were like, what do we do? I quit my job. I had a really good job, a secure job, a union job. So there was a lot of uncertainty at the beginning of the pandemic, as is with everybody else. But at that point, we were already at the point of no return. I had quit my job. We had signed a lease. I had invested tons of money into product and fixtures. So I was already at the point of no return. So we had to go forward. There was just no going back. And it really, and I hate to say it, but it's true. At least in the cycling industry, it turned out to be a blessing because bicycle sales skyrocketed. Products and accessories, anything related to the cycling industry, it was a boom. And so it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. But now some of the residual effects of this boom is starting to take effect in terms of now being able to source product. So you'll look at our racks here, and you'll notice that it's 95% empty, with the exception of some bikes here that are customers' bikes that have been repaired and they're waiting to be picked up.
As we were talking about this pandemic and some of the things that we learned about the supply chain management and then the blessing that it was that you opened during the pandemic because of the demand for cycling. It's funny, walking and biking and running around the community during the pandemic, we saw so many residents out cycling, like the Partridge Family, in 3s and 4s and 5s.
Yes.
And it was because I think we were all cooped up in our homes. We needed that escapism to get out, fresh air, for our mental health.
Right.
But one thing I noticed when I come to your shop that, as I said before, I always feel welcome. I feel like it's not just like looking for a bike or an accessory. I feel like it's like an experience. And I know people come and go all the time, and I'm sure you may have a story or two about some residents or shoppers that come in, and frequent the shop.
So I have to say that I don't have a specific story in mind or one that I can recall at the moment. But what I would tell you is that I had the opportunity to meet so many different people from all walks of life, from your everyday person, blue collar worker, to doctors, judges. From all walks of life. I think that's the most enjoyable part of running the business here is the opportunity to meet people from, just all walks of life. People that I probably would have not met in any other setting other than being here at the shop.
Well, that's beautiful. You're right. Biking or cycling,
right.
It's like universal language,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, right.
Bikes are made to go from A to B, and you enjoy them, in some capacity or other, and so that's really so important.
Right.
So we're about to make a story ourselves that you're gonna be able to tell, for hopefully for months and years to come. Because when we come back, we're going bike shopping here at Urban Cyclery. So we'll be right back with Meet the Mayor with Larry and Frank.
Dad, we need to talk. If you're not gonna listen to me, who will you listen to?
Jeffrey.
Is that Marcia Gay Harden?
I think so.
You're getting older.
Not that old.
Your brain is changing.
That's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age.
Really? Whoa.
Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov.
Hi, and welcome back to Meet the Mayor. This half of the show, we're going to talk a little bit about bikes. What you should look for in a bike. How would you fit me and Frank for a bike? We're obviously different sizes. He's much taller than me. I'm apparently also much younger. And then some of the accessories and also children's bikes, because I'm sure in Maplewood there's more children these days. Not much I can tell you. So Ozzie, let's start with that. Frank's taller,
Okay.
I'm shorter. How would you help us select a bike?
So very easily, I ask, how tall are you?
I'm 6'1".
6'1". So, and you are, Larry?
5'7" and shrinking.
So you're 5'7", and Frank is 6'1". So Frank, on average, the most ideal bike size for you would be a large frame bike. And for you, Larry, a medium-sized bike. So that's typically on, when you're looking at hybrid bikes, mountain bikes, but then when you get to a higher end bike, say for example, a road bike, on that, they will designate those by centimeters. And so at 6'1", for a road bike, I think on average it would be, the ideal frame size for you would be a 58 centimeter. And if I'm not mistaken, Larry, I believe a 54 centimeter would be ideal for you.
Okay.
And a lot of that has to do with your standover height. Once you stand over the bike, you don't want the bike so high that if you had to come off it in case of emergency, you don't want to impale yourself on the top tube. That's one consideration. And then beyond just that basic sort of sizing, that's a very, very basic sizing. Beyond that, we would take into account, we would measure your reach, again, your standover height, your inseam, and that's maybe when you want to consider going to a professional bike fitter. There are people that do nothing but bike fits. It's an anatomical sizing. It's a 3-hour process in many cases, and again, they take into consideration not just your standover height, but your reach. It's very involved. Yeah.
Well, Ozzie, that's fascinating to me. You know, we communicated our heights.
Yeah.
And then now you're talking about reach overs and you know, and how you stand with your feet on the ground. That's fascinating to me, because you know, I never knew any of that, and these numbers that you articulated, 58, 54, I think I heard, you know, so I mean, that's part of the experience and understanding that you buy the right bike, so I guess it optimizes your...
It's all in an effort to make you comfortable on a bike. So that not only that you're comfortable, but that you'll enjoy the ride that much more. You'll be able to go that much further, maybe even that much faster on the bike, if you take all those things into consideration.
You know, one of the things I noticed a long time ago was that if you're not careful and you spend too little for a bike, you become awfully unhappy. At least that happened to me.
Right.
The frame was too heavy, it wasn't flexible, whatever it was, it made the whole riding experience more of a chore than a pleasure.
Right.
So in terms of like, not the height, we talked about the height, but in terms of some of the componentry and features, what should you look for if you want a bike to be a pleasurable experience and not just a chore?
So some things the first thing you should take in consideration is, where do you see yourself riding at? That's usually the first thing I ask a customer when they come in, because a lot of times customers don't know. I want a bike.
Yeah.
And I ask, well, what type of bike you look for? I don't know, I just want a bike. So I add that leads me into the question of, where do you see yourself riding at? If you see yourself riding around town, especially in Maplewood, South Orange, and you're primarily on the street, in the park, I would say that the most ideal bike for you would be a hybrid bike. Hybrid bikes are fast. Well, not necessarily that they're fast, but they're typically light. They have slim, fast rolling tires. They're usually geared bikes. So that they're ideal for riding in the street, especially like I said, in South Orange, Maplewood, where there's a lot of hills, especially South Orange. So you have a considerable amount of gears to choose from to help you get up and down the hills with as little effort as possible on the bike. Now, if you tell me, hey, listen, I want to go riding in the reservation, I want to jump off the rocks there and the tree roots, then I would say the most ideal bike for you would be a mountain bike at that point.
Okay.
Mountain bikes are, much more rugged. They have wide, knobby tires, so it offers you a lot more traction in the dirt, sand, that sort of thing. Now, if you tell me, listen, I want to ride on the street, but I want to go fast, I want to keep up with my friends, I want to compete,
Yes.
that's when you want a road bike, high performance bike.
Beautiful.
Light frame, preferably carbon or aluminum frame. So yeah, that's when you want a road bike. Now, if you tell me you want to ride around on the beach, down at Point Pleasant, you want to ride on the boardwalk, then you want a cruiser bike.
Cruiser.
Yeah.
This is beautiful, by the way. This is a bike, a race bike. You said
Road bike.
Road bike.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And which size is that? Would that be like a 58?
That's a 58 centimeter bike.
Just right for me.
Yeah, right. You take it with you. So how is that measurement done? Where is that 58 centimeters?
So now, Larry, you're going to put me on the spot. The measurement, I believe, is taken from the center of the bottom bracket to the center of the seat post.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that
And I'm probably
that would
wrong
make
about, I think I'm right, but I may be wrong. And if I'm wrong, Larry, we're going to edit that out.
sense. No, but the point is that that dimension is kind of related to your
Correct.
your leg size
Right,
and so
right,
forth.
right.
Now this is different. My bike has, the
So your
brakes.
bike probably has what's called traditional rim brakes.
Yeah.
Caliper brakes. So more and more you're starting to see what's called disc brakes. This bike has hydraulic disc brakes, similar to what you have on your car. The brake pads are actuated by you're pulling the lever like on an ordinary bike, with the exception that it has hydraulic fluid that again actuates those brake pads to hit the rotor. And again, you're seeing that on more and more on even your low to beginner bikes now. They may not be hydraulic; they'll probably be more of a mechanical disc brake. But either way, you're seeing more and more disc brakes on bikes.
And that's a safer, better.
They actuate better, and they're superior, especially in wet conditions, versus your traditional rim brake.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that.
Now, Ozzie, one thing we know is that you sell amazing bikes. It's an amazing experience, but you also sell accessories and other things that go with that whole cycling experience. So why don't we go take a look at those accessories right now?
Okay.
We'll be right back. And we're back, and now we're talking about accessories, because you can't just get a bike without getting the proper accessories to go with that cycling experience. And we wanted to invite the most important person here at Urban Cycling, and that's Glenda. Glenda, welcome.
Hi.
And so, also a owner of this wonderful cycling shop. And so we're talking about accessories. And for a lot of people, especially young people, accessories really add on to the experience of the bike in which they purchase. I have my most important accessory, pedestrian helmet, pedestrian safety, the helmet. But maybe tell us a little bit about these accessories and how, when people come in, what's important, what's nice to have, and why accessories are so great.
Okay, so I would start with the necessities. What are the necessities? Number one, a helmet. Always should have a helmet. We have I would say a large selection of helmets to choose from a small child to an adult. That's the first necessity. The second necessity would be choosing tire levers. Tire levers and tubes. Always have at least one spare tube and a tire lever to help you remove the tire, and that would allow you to remove the punctured tube and replace it with your extra tube. So that's the next thing I would consider. That's the next necessity. Then after that, I would say, lights. Very, very important to have lights. And not just at night. Having lights on during the day, I would say sometimes is more important, because people tend at night to, most of the time, to focus their attention on what's straight ahead. Whereas during the day, there's so many other things that you can see to distract you from what's ahead of you. So that's why I say sometimes having lights on during the day on a bike it could be more important than having them if you're riding at night or at dusk or dawn. So yeah, lights are very important, and not only they're important, but they are the law here in New Jersey. It's I think it's the state law if I'm not correct?
Yes.
Also, some sort of audible device, bell, whistle. You have to have an audible device and lights, and that's the law in New Jersey. Helmets are actually optional, but if you want to avoid potential brain damage, very important to have
Save a little bit of your life.
a helmet. Another necessity,
Looks good.
the poop bell. You definitely want a poop bell. This would be considered an audible device.
Understood.
Yeah. So then after that, some of the other things that really are not necessity, but to be considered. Water bottle holders. You may not think about it, but you go 10, 15, 20 miles and you're out there, you may not be around a shop, you may be out in the park or on the trail. You want to have some hydration with you. Very important to have a water bottle, bottle holders, gloves, padded gloves, very important. Another important thing that people a lot of times do not think about until they get on the bike and they go about 4 or 5 miles is, my butt is hurting.
Yes.
I want to turn around.
Yes.
So cycling shorts, particularly shorts that have padded chamois, very important and very helpful. And if you want, we have padded saddles. Padded saddles. Anything and everything. Chamois cream to avoid chafing between the legs in your private areas. Important. If you become adventurous or more of an avid rider, you may want to consider doing clipless pedals and shoes. So yeah, we try to provide the essentials here in a small space as much as possible.
Well, Glenda and Ozzie, this is great. And as a cyclist myself, I will totally vouch for your statement on the bike pad.
Yes.
Those are, trust me, very critical. And for all the Peloton riders out there, you need those for your Peloton too. So come on down to Urban Cyclery, and if you don't get a bike, you can get some bike pans there for your Peloton rides when you're trying to hit that century mark.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, if you're going to carry an extra tube and your tire levers, you're going to need a way to inflate them. You're going to need a pump a frame-mounted pump, preferably. So yeah, those are
Something like that.
Oh wow, look at that! How
Yeah.
beautiful that is.
Very
It's a
important.
Nice accessory.
Yeah.
Well, Ozzie, the two things that I found useful, whether you think they're important or not, was a little hatch or some kind I could put on your seat
Are we there?
to keep things that I
To
used
keep your tire lever and your tube.
Yeah, those kind of things.
Yeah.
And also I keep identification just in case.
Absolutely.
But the other thing that I found really useful was not this one, but a mirror.
Mirrors, correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, especially for those who, I would say anybody where you don't want to take your focus off what's in front of you by looking to see what's coming up behind you. Mirrors could be very helpful, absolutely.
Yeah, and I like what you said before about, you're right, we tend to focus on what's ahead.
Right,
And it's harder to see what's behind you, right?
correct,
At least
absolutely.
that's been my, now one thing before we forget, if I may, Frank, is children's bikes.
Oh yes.
What should a parent look for in a child's bike?
So, children's bikes, very easy. You always want to take the age of the child in consideration and the height of the child. And that's, I have to be honest, that's pretty much all we really consider.
Yes.
Because the thing with children's bikes are, especially if you're buying it from a bike shop versus like a big box store, in terms of quality,
Yes.
day and night. The downside to that is it comes at an expense. You're going to pay a lot more for a children's bike at a bike shop. They'll last them a long time. The problem with that is children grow out quick. So, you're left with that conundrum. Do I want to spend a couple $100s on a bike for a child that's 5 years old that may grow out of it in a year or two? Or would I rather go somewhere else? So,
Or have more children. I mean,
yeah, exactly. I will say though that not just because I own a bike shop and I'm trying to sell you bikes, I would say that a lot of times buying a bike from any bike, not just my bike shop, any bike shop, in terms again of quality, day and night, they're going to last them for a long time, definitely till they need a new bike. But it's so much easier of a bike to ride than a bike you'll get at again, a box store.
Yeah.
It's just it's so much easier for a
And
child to
lighter.
ride. Yeah.
That's what makes it easier. It's lighter.
And we service everything we sell, and I think most bike shops service everything they sell. So it's something you can't do at a big box store. You will not be able to take that bike. I say, hey, it's not shifting right, it's not braking right. Can you fix that? You know what? I'm just a cashier. So yeah, so some of the advantages to buying a bike at a bike shop.
No, I agree with that. I've kind of had that experience. I was telling you before when we were talking about what to look for in a bike. It was like night and day between having a bike that was fun to ride and a bike that was a chore to ride.
Right,
It was just
right.
so different. Now, what about this thing here? This is a...
So this is a trailer. They have, so you may not seen families riding around with this, and it's made for...
Can I
Yes.
pull it so people
Okay.
can see? So what do we have here?
So this is a child's trailer. So you may want to ride your bike and your kids may not be at the age where they can keep up with you. So you can just throw them in this trailer here.
Wow, look
Let me
at
not
that.
say throw them in the trailer. You can place them in the trailer and you see it has seat belts.
Look at that.
You know, it has, you know, you can protect them from debris or insects. If it rains, you can put that over it. So really cool. And again, this attaches to the back, to the axle on your bike, and you just pull them around with you, so you can get your exercise, and you know you can
They
have
get
them with
fresh
you.
air. Yeah.
Right.
And I've had a few customers ask me about them because they would put their groceries in there and put their groceries, even their puppies or their animals in
This is
there.
also a jogger too, so you can actually detach this from the bike and jog with it as well.
Oh, well, awesome.
One last question from me at any rate, Frank. You may have one. Bike carrier to put on a car.
Right.
What should you look for with that?
You have to determine. So there's on predominantly two types of bike racks, car racks. What's called trunk racks, and then there's what's called a hitch rack. Hitch racks are made for if you have a vehicle that has a hitch. Typically, much more convenient in terms of being able to get in and out of the trunk or your hatch without having to, without having to remove the rack.
Right.
Comes at a cost though. If you don't have a hitch on your vehicle, you'll have to buy the hitch, have it installed, and then have to purchase the rack. Trunk racks, much cheaper, not as convenient because it attaches to your vehicle with straps, and if you have to go into your trunk for some reason, you'll either have to remove the rack or it may get in the way of the hooks that you opening and closing the rack. The trunk may interfere with the straps on it.
I think, speaking of opening and closing, I assume we're probably about out of time. So we're going to have to call it.
Yes.
Frank and Larry, we
Right.
appreciate your being with us. And Ozzie and Glenda, thank you so
Thank you.
much for giving
Thank
us a
you.
little tour.
Thank you so much.
Can I say
Yes.
thank you
yes.
to the people of the Soma area who have been really inviting to my wife and I and welcoming our business. Many of whom have come through all throughout the year when things would typically be very slow, who made it their business to come in and said they wanted to shop local. So again, thank you so much again to the residents of Maplewood, South Orange, and surrounding areas for supporting us. We can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you.
you.
Thank you,
you.
Larry.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, and take care.